Hi, I'm Steph Thompson, founder of the London Voice Boutique. Welcome to LVB Presents. We're a voiceover agency based in Soho, London, and in this second series, we're going to take you on a little journey behind the scenes with some of our actors. But also, I'm going to take you on a detour and talk to people on the production side of the industry to give you some of the fun stories and advice from the other side. Today I'm going to talk about being a voiceover agent, and I'm really happy to welcome Sophia Nicholson and Sorrel Reid. Sophia, you've worked with me for about the last 9 years, and Sorrel, you started at the end of last year as an agent's assistant. Hi Soph, hi Sorrel, how are you doing?
Hello, good, thank you. I'm quite nervous actually.
You'll be fine.
Yeah,
You're a trained actress.
I'll be fine.
I'm going to start with you, Soph, because the first thing I'm going to ask you, I found at the end of the last season, quite a lot of people were like, yeah, that was great. I love listening to the podcast with all the actors and stuff, but what is a voiceover agent? Nobody seemed to know exactly what, well, not no one, but a lot of people were asking me, what is a voiceover agent? So I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but can you give us a quick recap on what a voiceover agent is, please?
So we are talent managers, mainly representing actors, but other voices as well. And it's just voiceover work. We book them voiceover work, find them jobs, and then do all the negotiations of the contract, either before or after they've done the job, make sure they get to the session on time.
Yeah, and it's for things like animation and TV commercials and video games, corporate, anything with a voiceover on it, really.
Yeah.
But I think we take that for granted, and some people have asked me that question, so I thought, right, let's get that clarified. First episode of this season. So I'm actually now going to ask you both a little bit to tell me how you got into working with me, but also, you know, what was your journey to becoming a voiceover agent? And I'll start with Soph, and then I'm going to go over to Sorrel.
Okay. I went to drama school, so I'm a trained actress, and it didn't work.
It did work. It's just not what
it's
you
really
wanted.
fucking hard. So I tried for about 3 years to do acting, and then I was just working more and more in a cafe, but I still wanted to be in the industry. Yeah. And I didn't even know about voiceover agencies.
The thing. A lot of people
I had
don't.
no idea. And we did something at drama school, like the Carlton Hobbs Award, but that's more radio plays, that's more acting stuff. So even then we didn't really know about voiceover agents. Yeah. And then my friend Kat, who I trained with, she was already represented by Steph, and you sent out an email.
I did.
Asking if you knew anyone. And then I was looking for work at the same time because I wanted to be in the industry still. And I met Steph, and then here we are.
But you'd worked for another agent, hadn't you?
I did work for another agent. I worked for an acting agent for maybe a month or so. And again, that was like more testing the waters, like to see what I wanted to do. Because actually, I don't even know if you do know this. I did want to do casting, like at the very beginning, be like a casting assistant. But basically, we do a lot of that.
Yeah, we do
now. Like it's the same sort of a similar thing. Oh my God! What a waffle.
No. I think that's really interesting. I think that's it's an unusual way of becoming a voiceover agent, but it's everybody's journey is different.
I preferred the voice to the acting side of it. It was like being an acting agent. Yeah. It was, the voice is so much quicker. There's so much more going on. Like, I love the last minute nature of it. I like the flurry of, oh my God, we've got to find someone in an hour. Are you joking? Yeah. And we make it happen.
I love that.
I preferred that more to the slow burn of finding someone an acting job. Yeah. That's what I like.
No, I agree. I love that quick turnaround.
It's
when
fun.
Like, have you got anyone in the next hour that
and you
get
think,
to
surely
studio?
not.
And
you can, and everyone's there for it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And Sorrel, okay, so you only joined us last year, so I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but how did you think, I'm going to be a voiceover agent, or what's your journey?
Well, I wanted to go to drama school.
Oh, did you?
But everyone said, no, you can't do that. So I did.
Who said that?
Like, my parents, teachers, colleagues, etc.
Did you get the message then?
They were like, don't do that, Sorrel. And I was like, okay. But I still wanted to be in the industry. So I kind of skipped out your bit of probably similar, trying and then finding it quite difficult. But I went down the languages route at uni instead. So I studied French and linguistics. So I've always been interested in voices and accents especially and things like that. And while I was at uni, I did a lot of theatre reviewing because I was trying to stay I was like clinging on to the drama. So I did a lot of theatre reviewing, like at the Fringe and stuff, which was really cool. And that kept me kind of thinking I would really like to get into something to do with that industry after uni if I could. And then it is quite a difficult industry to kind of find a corner in, because as we said earlier, I actually didn't know about voiceover agents either. And I had considered trying to be an acting agent and like do casting and things like that. So that was always in the back of my mind. And I was kind of just floating along for a year or two after uni doing hospitality and stuff like that. And then I got put in touch with Steph from a mutual friend, and they said, have you ever thought about being a voiceover agent? And I was like, I've never thought of a voiceover agent. But then we had a chat and I looked at the job description and I was like, actually, this seems like something I might be able to do. And I was actually in Australia at the time, but we had a few really nice chats. And you were like, do you want to give it a go? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So
fly back from Australia.
So I did. And it's been really great couple of months so far, I think. I've learned a lot already, and starting with what is a voiceover agent was a really good thing to learn going into it. And there's so much that I never even thought about, and loving it so far. So
well, that's what I'm hoping, that this will sort of educate people a bit. It's a job that people don't necessarily think of. So
there's so many jobs that you wouldn't in this industry.
I fell into
no
it.
idea about. I didn't even know what a producer was. You know, when I started, I don't even know if I knew what a producer was. Like genuine. And then you're talking to people, you learn on the job. You're like, oh my God, there's so many.
I've had so
things.
much of that.
And that's really interesting, actually. Well, I'm hoping that this podcast series will actually help, because I'm going to be talking to a lot more people behind the scenes, from TV producers to creatives and voice casters, and I think that will help people to understand another side of an industry that isn't really discussed outside. That's people inside the industry know it all, but others don't.
Definitely.
So I was going to say to you what drew you to the job of a voiceover agent, but I think you what was it for you?
Well, you're a great boss, genuinely. We have loads of fun. But I think, the fast-paced energy of it, just like having to find people like so quickly. And I think it's just, I love being in Soho as well. Like, I absolutely love being here. Like, when I came in today, I was like, oh, it's so nice to be back. And I think that's the same sort of energy that's in the office as well. It's that like quick the quickness that I like.
I agree. I love it. And is there something you would say that is the hardest thing about being a voiceover agent, or the steepest learning curve?
I found like getting to know the tones and things of people's voices, and actually just listening to how they sound and trying to figure out what it is that you're actually being asked for.
Yes.
Sometimes briefs are really clear and it's really easy, but I've had to practice listening to our actors' reels and getting to know what their voice actually means when someone says, oh, they want a husky voice or whatever.
Yes.
So that's been harder for me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I take it for granted. I seem to know everyone's voices. If a brief comes in, I can within seconds think, I know who can do this. But it is something that you have to go back and you learn the tone, the delivery. It's not just a voice. I get people asking me all the time, I've got a nice voice. I've been told I've got a nice voice. How do I get into the voiceover industry? How can I do voiceover work? And it's so much more than that. It is a performance, but it is your tone, it's your delivery, it's your ability to deliver within, a sound studio with lots of people giving you different directions. It's so much more than just having a nice voice. And I think you're right. You forget that at the beginning, you're really learning everybody on your books. You've got to really know their voice and what it is, their qualities are. So I think that's a really good point. We'll go back to the whole point of the anyone thinks they can do it. But Sophie, what did you find the hardest part about it?
Well, at the beginning, like where you were, like a few months ago, I was literally like straight on the calls, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't even know what some of these words are. So I just like writing everything down, write it all down, ring this person. I was like too scared to say, I don't actually know what that studio is because I've never been there before. So I'd write it down, Google it, but you like learn it all like so quickly. And obviously that was such a long time ago for me. But I think I'm like, as a person, fairly like people pleasy and like more of a pushover, but as an agent, like learning to be like, no, I've done like loads of training, I know what I'm talking about, but I do need to get a fair deal for my artist. And like finding the balance between no, this is right, and also not wanting to, obviously, like never in a million years be like rude to like a client or anything like that, but to be like push for what's fair, push for what's right, but still be a good person and like fight for our artists and be like, no, they are worth this and they are meant to have this. And I think that's like, that's been really difficult, being brave to be like, oh no, hang on, I do need to challenge you, because I don't like challenging people in normal life. So
that's really interesting, because I always think you are very good at that. I always put it down to you being northern. Like, they won't mess with her.
Brash. I think that's quite scary though, being like, oh no, they need this. This is fair.
Pushing back.
It feels like a bit of an alter ego.
Feels like you're being rude, but actually you're not.
But you feel like you're defending them. Yeah, that's a good thing, I think.
I think that's probably the hardest thing. Learning to be brave and stick to your guns and know that you know what you're talking about.
And not offending in the process.
Yes, because it's business for everyone, isn't it?
I agree. Well, actually, my next question was going to be, what do you think makes a good voiceover agent? But I think you've just described those skills are both things that you've got to learn in order to be a good voiceover agent. Unless you've got something else to add, then I think you've kind of almost answered that question. But, you know, I think
being quick, like we get back to people really quickly. That's something that you always taught me. You said from the beginning, you're new to this, just be kind, be polite, be quick, get back to people. And all our artists know to do that to us as well. And people are like, oh my God, like can't believe how quick you respond. Like that's great. But you've taught us that because you were a producer for so many years. So I guess you probably know more what you were looking for when you were a producer.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I think the other thing that I think, not necessarily what makes us a good agent, what I love about our agency is that we have good relationships with all the people on our books. And I think that's a really nice, you mentioned that to me, Sorrel, the other day, how you really like the fact that we have really good relationships with everyone. I don't think there's anybody on our books that I wouldn't happily go for a nice coffee with and have a chat and you know, I see us as a big family, which is lovely. But I don't want to be a massive agency. I don't want to have 400 people on there that I don't know. I feel like I know everyone on my books and I know them well. So that was something that I wanted to do when I set up LVB. But everybody's different. I'm not sitting there saying that that's right or that's wrong, but that's how I've set up LVB. Okay, are there any memorable moments from over the years that you think that we can share? Because obviously there's plenty we can't.
I know.
But are there some fun ones that we can talk about that won't get us into trouble?
Oh God. Now all that's coming to my mind are the ones that are going to get us into trouble.
Well,
so
I think dealing with some of the fans can be quite funny. And although we say on our website we don't deal with fan mail or anything, some of the stuff we've received.
We've had whole cartoons of a certain artist that they will never see because it's absolutely mental, and we receive this and we're like, okay, and we have to talk to them on the phone and be like, this you can't just make your own cartoon and put them in it. That's crazy. That's not okay.
We've had some quite interesting letters where we'll say to the artist, do you want us to send this on because some of it is quite offensive, or that I find, you know, we do say we don't deal with fan mail, but yet it still comes through sometimes. But I tend to be honest, just get rid of it.
It's not something you would expect to have to deal with as
not as a voiceover agent.
Okay, it's not in the job description.
No,
anyway,
it's
but
not.
It's an interesting route for people to take to get to the artist. Yes, they're like, how many people can I contact?
Yeah, that's coming to us. You wonder what else is going on.
I think people who phone up. I once had a man phone me up, and he was like, "Hi." I was like, hello, like what the hell's going on here? And he obviously had been told that he had a great voice, so he was like giving me his voiceover voice on the phone. So you've not actually said any, I don't know. I think he was expecting me to drop the phone and be like, oh my God, this is it! You fucking found it. Anyway, this was during COVID. He was like literally a surgeon, like, you know, I'm sure that's a well-paid job. And he was like, I'm just going to pack it in because everyone tells me that I have the voice. And I was like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. You don't, like, not even that you don't. You can't just do that. Like, why would you, Can you imagine in any other industry if I was like, do you know what? Everyone has told me that I would be an awesome surgeon. So let's just Switch it up.
Oh my God, Sophia, this is my pet peeve. I have this all the time. People saying, I had someone phone me last week say, hi, I leave quite a lot of voice notes on people's phones and I've been told I've got an amazing voice. So I think how do I become a voice artist? And I was like, okay, well, what training have you got? Well, no, I don't have training. Right. Okay. Like you say, at what point do people think they can just go and be a voiceover artist? It drives me insane. I'm only going to rep people that have had training of some professional standard.
Yeah.
And I know people come into acting at different levels and may become as a child actor into it and may not have gone to drama school, but there is training in that.
Yeah.
The idea that a surgeon thinks, and I've had lorry drivers, I've had all sorts of people who just go, yeah, I've been told I've got people, especially people
when you're
in
talking to
call
someone,
centres.
they say, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm voiceover agent. Oh my God, my mum has a great voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, does she? That's so nice. That's really great.
All the time. I mean, this is something I find really difficult to explain to people. I'm not trying to be rude.
Yes, yeah, but
train,
it comes across as rude, though,
and
because
I
people
think,
are like, why not? Why not me? I'm like, no.
Go and get some training and then we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for more people specifically, but that is the first step.
Yeah.
So yes, I think you're right. I think when people say they're going to give up being a surgeon,
lots of tricky stuff like that. Trying to explain to an 80-year-old man that he probably isn't going to get the voiceover of a 20-year-old boy.
Yes.
That there's loads of 20-year-old boys, and but I can do everything. I'm like, but the 20-year-old boy can do that.
Yeah, and you're 80, so let's go. No, I know we've had that a few times. I think. Also, the other thing that I find memorable from all of the years, obviously we've had some crazy experiences that we're not allowed to talk about, but is when some of our artists do really well in their acting careers as well as their voiceovers. I mean, when they get a big gig, me and Soph and Sorrel, we do a little whoop whoop and we're sort of like jumping for joy and we get really excited, and that's always a massive high. That's kind of why we do it. But when they do really well in their acting careers, I get really excited for them, and I think Rachel Shenton got her Oscar.
Yes,
we were like,
I
literally stayed up all night to find out she won, and then she came in with her Oscar, and me and Soph were like, oh my God, it's here! We were so excited. And things like that are just memorable because you have experiences that you would not have in another job. And
definitely.
It does sort of take you back sometimes and go, oh wow. And some of our actors have done some incredible stuff over the years.
Yeah.
That's just one example I can think of now, but I just think it's for me, those are always memorable.
Yeah, and watching people's careers grow. Like if we get them at the beginning and you've taken a punt on someone, be like, oh, I really like you, and then everything goes great for them. That's just so amazing to watch people succeed. And obviously, we want everyone to succeed. So because we believe in them all, and that's why they're on the books.
Yeah, no, it gets really exciting. What advice would you give an actor going into the booth for the first time?
Oh wow. I was listening to some of the episodes again last night to refresh myself, and it's stuff that has already been said, but it's the things not having milky drinks before and being claggy, all of those sort of physical things, definitely do those. But I mean, from our point of view, know where you're going.
Yes.
Look up the studio, look up the train or how you're going to get there the night before, be on time, be professional, it is a job. So obviously that, but I think that's more boring agent speak, isn't it?
But I think that's important.
Read the script if there's a script, if you can get the script in advance, just be prepped, know who you can't know who you're meeting, but
you don't always get
you don't always know who you meet. You don't always get the script. Just turn up, be on time. Don't be hungover.
Oh gosh.
Or late.
Oh, I've had
We've had
hungover ones that I've had to have a quiet word with.
And if you don't have a sexy hungover voice, then the client's not going to like that. Yeah. But if you do, it's fine. Just carry on. But,
actually, it did work in the favour of one person, and this was many years ago, where one of our quite well-known actors had been at a festival all weekend and then had a big voiceover job on the Monday.
Yeah.
And he phoned me up saying, oh God, I can barely speak. And I was like, no, this is not what I want to hear. I was like, just have hot lemon and, honey, go and do the best you can. And actually they phoned up afterwards and were like, I don't know what he did this weekend, but that voice was amazing. He had a really huskiness to it. And I was like, oh God for that. Oh my God, he got the gig, so it was a success. But there are times I'm like,
don't do that on the off chance that's going to make your voice sound really good.
Exactly. I have had one girl phone me up and say,
I was going to say,
I can't make it to the
get
session.
in a taxi now. I don't care if you're hungover.
You're an actress. Fake
oh my God.
That's what I have had to say a couple of times. But generally, everyone's brilliant, and but anyone new going into it, it is good to be prepared. I think getting there early is just one less stress for everyone, including the actors, as well as us. It's a bit stressful when they turn up, say they're going to be late.
Oh God, yeah, and they don't know where. And another thing, I've not been to all of the studios. No. Maybe like we should have done. I don't know.
You can't go to every
studio, but like someone phones me up and they're like, "I'm stood on this road." I'm like, I literally don't have a fucking clue, and I like try and do things on Google Maps, but it's just like that bit of prep before, so you turn up on time, so you're not flustered, so you're not like, oh my God, when you get there and all like stressed and stuff. Like you got to be chill when you're doing it. I think. No, I agree. Is helpful. But yeah, that. And Harriet and Alan, I was listening to theirs last night. What did Harriet say? Yeah, if you've not been in before, ask someone. If it is your first job, ask us or ask a friend. What like it's expect. Not, like all the words like that you're going to hear in the session, you can ask for what they are, and then you'll know.
I think that's really important, and it's something that's come up again when she mentioned about not knowing what cans were going into the session. And I actually got a friend message me later going, I still don't really understand what cans are, which really made me laugh. And I was like, oh, well, they're headphones. I mean, I just assume people know that. And Sorrel, you've started in this industry recently. And I'm kind of thinking there are definitely terms that you don't know, and that I need you to sort of say to me. So it's the same with actors. What does this mean? What is a clock version? What is a this? Or what is we're going to be syncing up, or we're going to be lip syncing, or we're going to be dubbing, or what does that involve? Then those are the sort of questions that are worth asking us, because if they look good, we look good. So it's definitely worth asking in advance. No, I agree.
And no one ever minds when you ask questions like that. No. I ask you about 50,000 questions a day.
Absolutely.
And it makes sense because I need to ask you. But even if you were an actor in a studio and you asked, no one's going to be like, oh, you don't know what that is. Get out now. Like, they just
But it's better that they ask us beforehand and go in and not know if the client's like sort of talking at them. They need to look like they know what they're talking about.
Yes. I just thought of, which might have been said already, when you're in the session, don't say that you think you could do it better.
Well, I had this conversation with
Colette. Has that already been said?
She said, I always go, I one more. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yes, I do remember that. That was the first part, But we'll just re-emphasise again. If everyone's happy, you're happy. Okay, you're done.
Get out.
You finish.
It puts doubt in everybody's mind when they all go, oh, that was the
because there's so many people in there.
And everyone goes, oh, yep, we're really happy. If the artist then goes, I think I can do better, you've just cast doubt in everybody's mind. And if you don't then nail it, everyone's sort of scratching their heads going, well, actually, do we need a new voice? Do we need to do this again? Yeah, it can totally throw you out of a room.
Did you have that when you were producing? Is that why you say that to me? Right,
because I've had that
if you've been on the other
times.
side,
and also as a producer, I'm looking at the clock thinking, right, we've recorded now, I've got half an hour to mix and I should be within my budget.
Yeah.
Nothing more annoying than an artist going, oh, I think I could do it better. Well, you should have done it better the first time.
Okay.
It's just irritating. So from a producer's point of view, I would definitely defend that. If they like it, you move on. So talking about terminology and understanding things that people don't necessarily understand before they come into this industry, what would you say that is useful for actors to know?
Probably thinking about all the stuff. You normally go over key things in the many, many representation meetings I've sat and listened to. But I would say we talk about, how it works, basically. So, you're normally in for an hour. Like, that's normally how long a session is. Some people don't know that a session is like an hour. You get paid a certain rate for the hour. For turning up for an hour, you're going to get X amount. And then from there, that's when we do our negotiating and we find out. We might know in advance. We normally don't. where it's going. Is it going across the world on like every single telly ever? Is it just going on like this really small website for this brand?
And you're talking commercials at this
Bristol.
point, really,
I'm
aren't
talking
you?
commercials, yeah. So that's that. So we don't always know the money in advance. But obviously people that are listening to this that are with a different agency or are going to go to different agencies, like everyone works differently.
Yes,
obviously.
We're only
this is
basing
how
it on we work.
Yeah. And then other things that we would talk about in those meetings is like video games, like the way that they work. So normally in our experience, you audition for a video game and that's normally free and that's 15 minutes. And then, video games.
And I think we go through all the different sort of types of voiceover work, animation, and what to expect. But also, I think people who haven't had a voice agent before often expect a breakdown of the entire job. If they've had a theatrical, job. Exactly. So theatrical agents very much are, here's the job, here's your role, this is the fee, this is the days you'll be filming, blah, blah, blah. And definitely in animation and video games and jobs and corporate jobs, you tend to have that information up front. Commercial work can definitely be that you can throw out the window, and it will be very much usually last minute, or it can be very last minute. We don't know what the usage is, we don't know where it's going, they've just decided to put a voiceover on it, and can you be free this afternoon at 4 o'clock? And so we do try and explain that to people, and I think that's really useful for actors to know, actually.
And also, like, which is why we're like, trust in us.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. Yeah. We might not know it all now. We are going to get the fair deal for you. We will give you all the information if we have it. Like, no one would withhold anything, but like, it is that fast paced. Yes. It is that exciting. How fun to turn up somewhere in an hour and be like, oh my God, I'm going to make some money this afternoon. I wasn't this morning. Like that is so good.
Yeah. I think because I've worked as a producer, I kind of really understand that is the way it works, and that they're not just trying to pull a fast one over us or anything. That is the way the industry works. So that's always been quite nice to be able to explain it from both sides of the job.
Stuff like you won't always get the script in advance, depending what you're going for. If you're dyslexic, let your agent know.
Oh, yes, we need to know.
I'm guessing this has been covered
before.
We
talked about it with Sophie Corbett. She's dyslexic. We always just say, just make sure you let us know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, also to know that you're not keeping secrets from the actor when you send them somewhere. You give them as much information as we have, basically, like where they're going. If we've got the script, they get the script. You know, you're not ever like not
withholding
exactly.
Yeah.
So and that's because of the fast turnaround as well, because it kind of almost gets sorted out after the session sometimes. So
it does.
There's all the stuff that we would discuss if we're meeting someone.
Yeah. What is the most unusual voiceover brief that we've ever been sent? I think there are some fun ones from over the years. I can't remember all of them, but you could remember a few.
Irish, but not sexy. So whoever wrote that automatically is like, every Irish person is sexy, so they have to not be sexy. So I was like, I like that one. And then it was obviously for, well, what's it for? I don't know if I can name the brand.
No.
It was the voice of a man who sounds like he likes an alternative meat-based sausage. So like,
decipher
veganuary.
That.
Someone who sounds like a vegan.
Basically,
But like, what is that person? I do love these briefs, I have to
I've got him in my head. I can see who he is, but I was like, what does he sound like?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think one of my favourites for me that really stood out was I needed to cast a voice that would stop you from jumping off a bridge.
Ooh,
it's deep.
It's powerful.
Powerful, but like reassuring and trustworthy. Yeah. But I mean, what a way to put that. Yeah. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Do you find that helpful when it's that specific? Or is it a bit narrowing?
Do you know what? We get briefs where we get every single descriptive word going, and I find that really difficult because you're trying to, it's like smooth, but reassuring and deep. And but it needs to be quite fast, and actually some of those words are going to contradict, because if you're deep, you aren't necessarily going to be quite fast. You're going to probably have a slightly slower voice, and so it's quite hard. So actually, when it's who is the voice that is going to stop me from jumping off a bridge? I'll be honest. I feel like a non-meat eating person is a harder thing to pinpoint.
Dreadlocks. He's wearing hemp trousers.
You see, now that's not who I'm thinking. I'm thinking someone else. So that's where I think then you've got to
It's
try and get
more
inside the
subjective.
creative's head,
Yeah.
or push back and say, have you got any other words?
Yeah.
Um,
It's better when we've got a picture.
yeah. Oh, I mean, if it's an animation voice, that's brilliant because
Didn't you say you had to do an emoji?
Yeah, that
There you
was
go.
it. It was like, we need to replace this voice of an emoji. And I was like, what emoji
that
is
sound
it?
like?
And
Yeah.
also what? Yeah, it was just a bit vague and
Yeah.
a bit strange. But I also find it really difficult when they say something like, we need someone who is not audibly British. They are European,
yeah.
but you can't tell what country they're from.
Yeah.
We had that a lot a
And
bit ago.
they're definitely not American. Like, you know, that
it's
kind
the
of...
international
They're like international,
version.
but you can't really tell where they're from, and
Yeah.
it has to be like super neutral.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, but you know, I mean, some people have really strong accents, so you know, obviously you can't
Yes.
use them. But it is funny when they specify
Yes.
everywhere they're not allowed to be from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
where does that leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot have recently, the fashion has very much been like they don't want RP or London, but they want a southern accent, but not those. And it's just kind of trying to work it out. It can be
Yeah.
quite difficult to try and understand what is needed. But, you know, I love a challenge. And actually, if they are things like we've
Yeah.
had, actually, they can be really fun to look at and go, okay, who is this person?
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Okay, who would you most like to direct in a booth?
Oh God. Oh no.
Go on,
I
Sorrel,
was
who would you
thinking
say?
so long and hard about this, and then I thought, I think Jack Black would be really
Ooh,
fun.
that's a
Because
really good
you could either
one.
just hit record and let him go,
Yeah.
because he could probably just like wind him up like a little toy, and he'd just
Oh
go on for hours.
God.
But I think he could probably do anything you wanted. I feel
think
like
it'd be amazing.
just be great, and it would just be so fun as
Yeah,
well.
that would be
Such a
fun.
fun
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Oh, so now you've got to follow that up.
I just honestly, I think you might have to come back to me.
Oh, okay.
Who would you most like to direct?
Well,
Have you been asked this before?
actually, the ones I would say have already been said, so I'm not really able to sort of name them. Obviously, Keanu Reeves, because I just have the love of my life.
Yes.
But I think Jack Black, I have to say, is a
I know, I'm
really
really
good
I think
shout.
that's a really
Yeah.
good
I'd
one.
love that session.
Maybe he's listening.
Jack.
Get in
So,
touch.
we have actually, not Jack Black, but we have actually like messaged people before,
Yeah.
like to be like, we
Would you
love
like
your
rep?
voice.
Yeah.
Would you like rep? And
Yeah.
they're like, no, they're not. They've not answered. They've not answered. So,
Yeah, but we got Josh Pugh and John.
yeah,
Bradley.
it's worked a lot of times. It's worked a lot of times, but it was a time when again it was an international voice, and we were watching a famous Swedish drama. And we
Oh
were like,
yes.
hello.
Would you like repping?
Would you like representing?
Oh, nothing but tumbleweed.
Oh.
Always successful.
I do Google people sometimes to see if they have a voice agent.
Oh,
'cause
you
I'm
must.
like,
yeah, yeah, we
That is
always
part
do
of the
that.
job,
Yeah, and
definitely.
no, but before that we have done that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it works,
Yeah.
and then we meet and we get
Always.
on, and that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Got to stalk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday night. You finish work. What do you do in Soho? I know, Sophia, you'd now go home and look after your baby, but what would you have done pre-baby?
Well, I was thinking it could be LVB Christmas party.
That
Yeah.
was fun.
Because I absolutely love the LVB Christmas parties. They're just so much fun. So we'd be at the top of the Nelly Dean,
Yeah.
having pies and pints,
Aw.
and just like everyone rams in. It is so nice. And Steph always beforehand is like, no one's going to turn up, no one's going to come. She sends the invites months in advance because she loves Christmas, and it's August. She's like, I think we should get the invites out now. I'm like, you fucking mad? Like, no.
I'm right,
And
though.
she's right, because she gets in there first, and everyone, and they're always so busy and so fun. And then, yeah, we always like leave there like a bit pissed and merry, and then go to Dean Street Townhouse and have burgers on silver
Yeah.
platters,
Yeah.
and then go
Aw.
home.
It is
So
a good
yeah,
one.
I think I would like to do an LVB Christmas party.
We'll do them again. We didn't do that this year. We went lower key, didn't
Yeah.
we? We went just to the pub over the
Yeah.
road because it wasn't really an official Christmas party. It was come and meet.
how many
Sorrel.
people can Sorrel meet in an hour?
Baptism of fire, yeah.
But it was really good.
I think I had, when I first started, I think I had a similar, I think I'd only been there a few months as well. And there was, again, absolutely loads of people
Yeah.
I've not met. And I was just like,
People should come with name badges.
some
Although
of
you
you
don't
look
know who
like
they
your
all are.
headshots.
I know, that was the, and then I could hear people talking, and I was like, I know these voices, but I don't know the
it's fun,
faces.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I know.
fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'd do LVB Christmas party. Oh my God.
Do that line again.
LVB Christmas party.
Yeah.
Put my teeth in.
And have you discovered places in Soho that you quite like at the moment?
A few. There's so many nice little restaurants and things, which I think I've gone to more than bars and stuff, because I'm always about to get my train home to Bristol. So actually what I do every time I'm in London, I feel like I have to go shopping because the shops are really good around here. And where I'm from in Bristol, they don't have shops, no. But they're just a lot, you know, better here. So I feel like I always pop out to the shops, maybe pop for a drink and meet up with people, because a lot of my friends live here. So I feel like I schedule someone in every week, someone different every week to meet up with. So
nicely.
It does. And I'm always like, come to Soho.
Yeah,
I'll meet you in Soho, because
it's
so much cooler than like Bank or wherever they are.
Yeah, you've not had big hot London summer in Soho yet, have you? Because when did you start?
November.
Oh my God, Soho in the summer. That was going to be my other one, which is why I said farty, because I was thinking I was going to go full fantasy, and it's a hot summer's day in Soho, and just every single pub is so busy. Everyone's standing on the streets. Oh my God, I just absolutely love it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. It was a toss-up between that or the LVB party.
Nice.
It was the best. Where would you go, Steph?
Oh, I'd end up in Soho House. I always do. I mean, in the olden days, I would have gone to all sorts of dodgy
olden
places.
days. Where's your dodgy olden days
Oh my God, we
place?
used to go to Madame Jojo's. There was downstairs at Lupo's was always a success because it was really dark and dingy and Anyway, so there were some dodgy ones out there. But nowadays, darling, probably more Soho House is my scene. Okay, finally, what advice would you give someone applying for voice representation?
So, send an email.
Yes.
Didn't you say the other day you got a...
Yeah, we get some random tapes and things, but that doesn't...
So, send an email. In your email, keep it short and sweet. Like, if you're in anything that we could have watched, like, recently... highlight that, like I was in, oh my God, whatever, Silent Witness that was on telly last night. And you might be like, oh, and even if you didn't watch it, that's just like an immediate point of reference. Don't put absolutely loads in it. You don't love it when people say, I've noticed that there's a gap in the books.
Yes, I have mentioned that in a previous
episode.
Okay. I really can't bear being told what my gap
Put a
is.
headshot in there that looks like you for when we're meeting you, because we have met people before and we've been sat there and I'm like, I think it's them, and we've been there for like half an hour because they've not. This is another thing. This is not this is sort of related to what you've said. If you're meeting us for a meeting for representation and you think you would like to join our agency, look at the website before you arrive. Well, I think it's rude if you don't, sort of. No, definitely think it's rude if you don't. But B, we could not be good. Like, and you have no idea who's on our books. You have no idea that we represent all these amazing people. And they sit down and they don't even know who we are. So they don't know who they're looking for. And we don't know who we're looking for because your headshot is like you on the best day ever. Or like 50 years ago.
or you've grown a beard.
Just be updated. Yeah. We had a job and one of our artists had grown lots of facial hair for an acting job they were doing, and the producer rang us and was like, they're not here, and the person had been sat for 45 minutes like waiting, and they were like, but they don't look like themselves, and we can't do anything then because we don't know that you don't look like your picture. But
totally valid.
Have an up-to-date picture.
Yes, I think
look at the website, short and sweet.
And don't mention that people have told you that you'd be a great voice actor unless
try and be trained. That would be good. Be trained. In some professional capacity,
in some creative capacity that's to do with performing. Because we don't just have actors, but everyone has some sort of training within the field that we represent. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And didn't we have a funny meeting one time with someone who turned up and then ate a big sausage roll in front of us, but it was like the most crumbliest sausage roll.
There's just been so much stuff. Oh my God, I forgot when we met Johnny. this is just a completely different thing. Yeah, thank God it was Johnny, and thank God we took him on. I'd just been to have because Steph's like, oh, you can take 15 minutes, it's fine. So I went to go and get my eyebrows threaded, waxed and dyed for like the first time ever. Oh, and they put like gel in it or something, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so it was like a really hot day in Soho, like we were at the top of Soho House, and I like walked in and sat down, and Johnny was like looking at my forehead, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, obviously looked gorgeous. And I had red, obviously, like just red. I looked absolutely mental, and I could see myself in the mirror, and I was like, oh my God. Like my whole forehead, it was like so red. But that's a really unprofessional moment.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. And Johnny, I was like, have I got something there? And he said, no. Like,
he was very, very decent.
he was so polite. Like,
but he still joined.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He's still with us. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's one of the
things for
memories.
voice agents to not do before a meeting.
Yes, yeah. Don't go and have beauty treatment.
Just before
meeting someone.
Yeah. Ideally, I think also eating, like as I was saying with the sausage roll, that was like a really flaky pastry just before, and it just kept having crumbly pastry all over them, and me and Sophie just watching him eat.
Yeah.
It was just really random.
Looking on your phone, like being on your phone during a meeting. We do that, but that's because I'll be working. But not. Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm just having a rant now. That's
no,
not
it's
what
brilliant.
This is about.
It's very, very helpful.
It's good to know.
I feel like they're obvious things that
you'd think so, but
know.
I think the amount of people that you've probably witnessed doing those things, it maybe isn't that obvious, and the level of self-awareness needs to go up a little bit, maybe. But
God, I'm sure we've had so many mad things that I can't think about.
And is there anything that you can think of, Sorrel, just advice that you've coming into this industry quite new, and because you've got fresh eyes on this industry coming in, is there anything you would say to anybody coming into the voice side of things, or do you feel like we've covered it all?
I think you've definitely covered, I'm sure you've covered most of it. Another thing I could think of is if people are looking for representation and they come in and they say they've done all these things and they think they could be really good, is to understand that it's not like you've got a bank of 1,000,000 million briefs that literally need filling ASAP. It's like there's not constant work in the industry. It's the same as in just normal acting. It's not like just because you're that great, you'll instantly get everything. It's as the work comes in and as the work is created, then we get it. Then, there's so many steps between being a great actor and having it done and being in the studio. So
I think you're right. I think the briefs are also, we have to find when the brief comes in, we find the right voice for that brief. We can't just put people up whether they're well known or not well known. We have to find the right voice for that brief, otherwise we're not seen as professional. And so it is about the fashion of the voice of the moment, and there isn't a guarantee that just because they've done lots of great stuff that it will carry on. I think you're right, that is an interesting point that I take for granted, but is sometimes actors expect it to just suddenly come flying through the window.
Yeah, which is why we're so excited when they book other acting work, right? And we always do our best to make sure that everything is working together, because like you often say to people, this is like some extra goodness on the side. Like, we are going to be flexible and try and make it work. We want you to book all of your acting jobs.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think we've got some really useful information. I hope
so.
That's cleared up some of the questions that we've had over the last few weeks from the last series, and appreciate your time. Now back to the emails, girls.
Thank you, Steph.
Back to the briefs. Thanks, guys. And that's it for the show. Hope you liked it, and if you did, please rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. LVB Presents was presented by me, Steph Thompson, and produced by Mike Hanson for Pod People Productions, and recorded by Sean Dios at Jungle Studios in Soho, London. See you next time.